Most students chase answers. Harvard students chase arguments. You memorize definitions. They dismantle them. You try to be right. They try to prove others wrong. Guess who wins long term? Wrong question. Guess who thinks better? Most people think intelligence means knowing the answer. Wrong. At Harvard, knowing the answer is the lowest level of thinking. The real game? Being able to argue both sides. Take law school. Harvard law students don't memorize laws first. They attack them. Case method. Cold calls. Professor looks at you. Defend this ruling. You freeze, they don't. Because they're not trying to recall information. They're trained to build arguments under pressure. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how they do it and why your current way of learning is holding you back. Chapter 1. Answers are dead knowledge. Most people think studying means collecting answers. Wrong. Answers are dead. Static, fragile, easy to forget. You memorize a fact today, gone tomorrow. Hermann Ebbinghaus proved this in 1885. The forgetting curve. You lose most information within days. So what do average students do? Reread, highlight, repeat, useless. You're just recognizing, not thinking. Psychologists call this the illusion of competence. You feel smart? You're not. But Harvard students don't play this game. They treat every answer as incomplete, because every answer creates a new question. Example, average student. What is capitalism? Harvard student. When does capitalism fail? See the difference? One ends thinking, the other starts thinking. But here's the problem, though. Even if you question answers, you still need a system. Otherwise, you're just confused. That's where the second advantage comes in. Chapter 2. Argument is a cognitive weapon. Most people avoid arguments. They think arguments are conflict, ego, stress, wrong. Arguments are how the brain sharpens itself. At Harvard, argument is not emotional. It's structural. You take an idea, you attack it, you rebuild it stronger. Robert Bjork, cognitive psychologist, calls this desirable difficulty. When your brain struggles, it encodes deeper. Arguments force struggle. Let's break it down. Average student reads a theory, accepts it. Harvard student reads a theory, asks 3 questions immediately. Why is this true? When is this false? What's a better alternative? That's argument. You're not consuming information. You're interrogating it. And interrogation activates active recall. Same principle surgeons use. Same principle top performers use. Because retrieval is effort. Effort equals memory. But here's the thing. Most of you are too comfortable. You read smooth explanations. You nod. You move on. No friction. No resistance. No learning. Harvard forces friction, cold calling, debates, essays defending positions you don't even agree with. Why? Because arguing both sides forces cognitive flexibility. You don't just know something. You understand it from multiple angles. That's power, but it gets deeper. Chapter 3. Thinking in opposites. Most people think in one direction. Linear, safe, predictable. Harvard students think in opposites. Thesis, antithesis, build, destroy. Then rebuild better. This isn't philosophy. It's a thinking system. Let's say you learn social media is harmful. Average student stops there. Harvard student asks, when is social media beneficial? Now your brain has tension, contradiction, and contradiction creates deeper processing. A University of Chicago study found that students who engage with opposing viewpoints retain information significantly longer. Why? Because your brain hates inconsistency. It tries to resolve it, and that process locks memory. So instead of one weak idea, you now have a network of ideas, connected, flexible, durable. But here's the problem, though. Most people don't know how to generate arguments. They wait for them. That's slow. Harvard students don't wait. They force arguments. Chapter 4. The 3-layer argument system. This is where it becomes almost unfair. Harvard students don't just argue randomly. They use structure, 3 layers. Layer 1, surface argument. Layer 2, assumption attack. Layer 3, consequence analysis. Let's break it. Example statement. College education is valuable. Layer 1, is it always valuable? Layer 2, what assumptions does this rely on? That jobs require degrees? That education equals skill? Layer 3, what happens if this belief is wrong? Debt. Wasted time, opportunity cost. Now compare that to your method. You read, you accept, you move on. They read, they dissect, they reconstruct. Same information, different brain. This is why they sound smarter. They're not memorizing more. They're processing deeper. And depth beats volume every time. But here's the thing. You can learn this system. You just haven't been forced to. Schools reward answers. Harvard rewards thinking. Big difference. Mid-video trigger. If your brain feels slightly uncomfortable right now, good. That means it's working. Most people avoid this feeling. They go back to easy learning. Don't. Hit subscribe before you forget this. We don't collect information here. We rewire how you think. Chapter 5. Debate as Memory Engine. Most people forget what they read. Harvard students remember what they argue. Why? Because argument activates multiple systems at once: language, emotion, logic, memory. It's like lifting weights with your entire brain. There's a study from the University of California showing that students who engage in discussion-based learning retain significantly more than passive learners. Because debate creates stakes. You might be wrong. You might look stupid. That pressure matters. It signals importance to your brain. Remember prisoners studying law to survive? Same principle. High stakes equals strong encoding. But here's the twist. You don't need Harvard to do this. You can simulate it. Simple method. After reading anything, do this. State the idea out loud. Argue against it. Defend it again. 3 steps. Now you've activated both sides of your brain. You've created tension. And tension creates memory. But most people won't do this. Too uncomfortable. Too slow. They want shortcuts. There aren't any. Chapter 6. The Illusion of Intelligence. Most people think Harvard students are smarter. Wrong. They just train differently. They're not memorizing more facts. They're building better thinking structures. Think of your brain like a hard drive. You store random files. No organization. They build folders, connections, systems. So when a new idea comes in, it attaches to something. That's why they speak clearly. That's why they write better. Because their thoughts are structured, not scattered. But here's the problem, though. Even if you start thinking in arguments, you might still fail. Why? Because you're too slow. You now know how Harvard students think. Arguments over answers, opposites over certainty, structure over memorization. But if your thinking is slow, you lose anyway. You need speed. Because in real life, you don't have time to sit and analyze everything. That's why I made the next video, breaking down how elite performers think faster than everyone else. Not smarter, faster. It's almost unfair. Watch it next.